We've just learned that FBI Director Christopher Wray has just submitted his resignation. CNN's Evan Perez joins us now live from the Department of Justice. Evan, talk to us about this news.
Well, Boris, we were anticipating, I'm sorry, I'm trying to silence my phone right here. We were anticipating that the FBI director would try to talk to his troops, talk to the people at the FBI before making this official. And we're told that there's a town hall, an all hands at the FBI at this minute, where the FBI director, Chris Wray, is telling the FBI employees that he is planning to resign, that he's planning to resign soon. It's not effective immediately. We don't know more details at this point, but this has been something that obviously has been the talk of Washington, has been talk of the country, because President Trump has made clear that he plans to replace Christopher Wray, FBI leadership. He already has chosen Kash Patel as his next FBI director. So the question was really just a matter of when is he planning to go? Whether does he plan to leave on January 20th? Does he plan to resign? Or does he plan to wait for President Trump, the incoming president, to fire him? So the answer now, as of this hour, with the FBI director having an all-hands meeting with the FBI employees, the answer is that he plans to leave ahead of the new president's arrival. So some of the details, I think, are still to be worked out. And behind the scenes, Boris, there's been a big discussion for the FBI. One of the parts of this has been how to do an orderly transition to whoever is going to take over. But there also was pushback from people inside this building, also from people at the FBI, which is not normalizing what Donald Trump is doing, which is to just habitually replace FBI directors that he doesn't like. These people are supposed to serve 10-year terms for a reason, to try to remove them from the influence of politics. And here Donald Trump is now about to have his second FBI director, in this case with Christopher Wray, pushing him out ahead of the time that he takes office. So at this hour, we know that the FBI director is talking to FBI employees. He wanted to make sure they heard the news from him, while he also tries to make it clear that he plans to get out of the way before the new president takes over. Boris?
Yeah, it's a real politicization of the FBI, even as people argue, oh, it's been politicized, so there needs to be change. It's sort of this wheel in a way that keeps going on this issue, Evan. I wonder if you have a sense of how people working inside the FBI are feeling about this and the effect that this may have internally on those folks who are doing this work day in, day out.
There's a lot of concern inside the FBI. Look, Chris Wray is actually pretty popular inside the bureau because, one of the things he has done is he has tried to lower the temperature for the FBI. There's a lot of criticism from the previous leadership of the FBI, James Comey, and the way how he handled the office, especially when Donald Trump first took office in the first term. So inside the FBI, Chris Wray has been seen actually as a very thoughtful, as a very quiet leader, someone who is trying to restore the reputation of the FBI. That has obviously not worked out that well, especially among Republicans, who have been very critical of a number of things, including, of course, investigations of Donald Trump. The Mar-a-Lago search is something that Donald Trump himself raised in his interview over the weekend with NBC. So there's a lot of concern because you have heard from Kash Patel, who is the incoming president's pick to run the FBI next. You've heard that they're planning to try to, they want to go after the the president's political enemies. And so inside the FBI, there's a lot of concern that the Bureau is going to be turned essentially to go after Trump's enemies and take its eye off the ball on things that are actually a threat to this country, including, of course, the threat from China, from Russia, from Iran, the national security threats, terrorism, all of those things that really are the bread and butter and the vast majority of what the FBI does. So a lot of concern right now. I think I just talked to FBI employees who are a bit shocked that is happening right now. They were anticipating perhaps that Donald Trump would actually do the firing once he takes office on January 20th.
Evan Perez, please stand by. I believe we still have David Sarney with us. David, I'm curious to get your reaction to this news, but I just want to point out for our viewers that when Christopher Wray was nominated to replace James Comey back in 2017, he was confirmed by the Senate 92-5, and Donald Trump himself, in a social media post announcing that he was nominating Wray some 7 years ago, described him as a man of impeccable credentials. What do you make of this news now?
I'll just say this: being, a retired member of the largest police department in the United States, regime change happens, administrations come and go. The work of the people who are boots on the ground doesn't really change. I've seen in the police department in the last 3 years, and especially in New York City, commissioners come and go, and I've worked under several. Usually the marching orders will come from the administration, from higher up, I'll just say from the police commissioner, from us, and then goes down and just goes downward. But it really comes down to focus, and leadership is always about accountability, responsibility, and transparency, the way I look at it. And this is something that, was unexpected, but if you're looking for, I'm not going to, speculate on what Director Wray, reason why he left, but this happens in any administration. In the police department, the police commissioner works at the behest of the mayor, and that's what you have here. We've had several police commissioners in the last 3 years. So, but the reality is, the boots on the ground, they're still doing the work. And even though we just had a new police commissioner come to the police department, they still did the investigation of the CEO shooting, and it was seamless. It didn't affect the rank and file for the most part. So we'll see how this goes. I mean, this is what happens in any law enforcement administration. You'll have people leave, and those people on the ground will just work according to what the edicts are brought up from above.
And I do want to bring in now Steve Moore, retired FBI supervisory special agent. Steve, how are you reacting to this news that Chris Wray is resigning?
Well, I'm kind of surprised, actually. There was a precedent set after Hoover where directors served for 10 years, absent any kind of malfeasance or problems or something like that. And that the purpose of that was to theoretically make them not products of an administration so much as products of a justice system. Kind of semi, a shorter term version of a judge, something like that. So I'm a little bit surprised. But after hearing what the president-elect has been saying for so long, and the fact that he's nominated somebody to be the next director, on that side, it shouldn't have come as a surprise. I just didn't know how he would navigate around Wray being in office and Wray having a pretty good reputation within the Bureau.
Steve, thank you so much. I do want to read part of what Wray said in his, according to remarks. These are excerpts of his prepared remarks at a Bureau town hall. He said, "After weeks of careful thought, I've decided the right thing for the Bureau is for me to serve until the end of the current administration in January and then step down. My goal is to keep the focus on our mission, the indispensable work you're doing on behalf of the American people every day. In my view, this is the best way to avoid dragging the Bureau deeper into the fray while reinforcing the values and principles that are so important to how we do our work."
He also adds, quote, "It should go without saying, but I'll say it anyway. This is not easy for me. I love this place, I love our mission, and I love our people. But my focus is, and always has been, on us doing what's right for the FBI." He also insisted that the FBI cannot change its commitment to doing the right thing the right way every time.